well, that guy was corrupt. That's autobiography. But it's now let me put out one word that if you are a student, like we used to do on the radio when people were, some were following some great people here on the radio. We used to take pen and paper and we take pay keen attention. CTFUL. So in writing also has to do with tactfulness. It depends what you are writing. You have to be tactful when you are writing something. You're writing most especially someone's autobiography. Even though it is their autobiography, it's like collecting all of the pieces behind them and then and piecing them together, mm, piecing the entire story together and presenting it to the public that this is who exactly Matthias is. This is where he came from. So the book is titled George Weah, The Dream, the Legend, the Rise to Power. But in chapter 13 of the book, something was included in that book, in that particular chapter. And I'm not going to mention. Imagine, remember now, I've given you a little background of what, autobiography. This is not teaching, by the way. I'm just giving you some analysis, making some analysis and getting straight to the point, and you two can join the conversation, right? So Diff mentioned about President Weah's, Mr. Weah at the time, his love life, choosing a partner and all of that. Doing wedding ceremonies, you usually hear a best man will stand up and say, well, he will give the story of how his man, the groom man, met his wife, and he would tell that little story, right? In a jovial form, sometimes interesting. Some stories can be very painful. When a guy too stands to speak and toast with the family, he would also stand up and say, well, I met my wife at this point and that and that. But it doesn't require much details. You don't have to be too graphic about it. So before, it seems a bit disrespectful to your in-laws who are there in a wedding. So you have to be tactful, again, tactful in your words, how you present, what exactly, how you met your partner and so. So yeah, that story will be told. So exactly what the writers also included in the book. But their writing, the way what they said about why President Weah chose his current wife, Madam Claudia, that particular description of the reason, the inclusion of the reason why he chose her. For me, as a father of two daughters, a brother to so many sisters, a friend to many females, I cannot sit here and ignore even my ignorance. At the level of my ignorance, I cannot sit here and read that particular part. It's just a paragraph, but it destroys a woman, because this is a paragraph that is addressing a woman particularly, a particular woman. All right. So many people have read it. There are a lot of women, there are a lot of men out there, they are raged by the fact that these authors put together their ideas. One is a professor, he lectures at some universities in the United States, and he was also a lecturer here at the University of Liberia, Professor Emmanuel Clark. Mr. Isaac Vatuba, as we all know, he's the former chief of office staff in the office of the political leader of the Alternative National Congress, Mr. Alexander Cummins. We're going to get to that, why I say he's former. All right. But the two, are supposed to be intelligent enough, as many are now, putting it, that they, in an English way that many people don't like for people to describe them that way, that, well, they should have known better. That even though maybe Mr. Weah explained the story to them, but they should have been a bit tactful in telling what exactly, why he chose, because I think it was a bit somehow about region. Why didn't he marry a Liberian woman, but a Jamaican? Maybe, I'm very sure that's how the question was posed to Mr. Weah at the time. So Mr. Weah then went on to explain, as a frank gentleman, he explained probably if they ever had a conversation with him. There is something that is also left with the authors to come up and explain to us, that they have had conversation with Mr. Weah, and that's why they included what they included in the book. But according to them, Mr. Weah explained to them in that particular part during their conversation that because of XYZ reason. Listen, I am not going to paint a picture on your minds right now regarding that particular paragraph I'm talking about. I don't want to be graphic, but it's demeaning to a woman, particularly the First Lady of the Republic of Liberia. That particular paragraph, for me, it can be described in three words. Last night I did some reading, I did some research about so many things about literature, how people, in fact, someone can write a book to go to court for it. for certain content, for certain inscriptions in that book. I'm going to provide the facts. All right. So that paragraph that brought to the public disrepute of the First Lady of the Republic of Liberia can be described, in my mind, as erotic, obscene, and pornographic. All right. So the two authors, Professor Clark and Mr. Isaac Vartukba, they sat down conscientiously, wrote that paragraph. They edited, they proofread, they edited, they rewrite, and completed their work. If they ever give it to Mr. Weir himself to read, another side of the information I'm also getting is that he was presented a copy of the manuscript. A manuscript must be given to the person you're writing about, and the person will read it. Even if you are in urgent, some kind of urgency is attached to your publication, you have to hold on until Matthias gets through reading that manuscript and gives you the go-ahead, say, yes, you can go and publish. I like what you wrote. The information is that Mr. Weir did not okay the manuscript. He said, no, there are certain things in here I don't like. You guys have to get rid of them, according to the information. I made out of calls. People spoke to me in confidence. I'm not going to sit here and allow pressure to make me to, reveal information to you out there. But quickly, another action has been taken, right? Mr. Isaac Vartukba, who is the co-author of the book, according to the information, I want to read that quickly, is reported to be arrested or missing. All right. Now, I think this is okay. Now I got two information right now. Good. My sources are on point. They are really active. Now, Mr. Tukba wrote, he contributed to the book, and he's in Liberia. Emmanuel Clark, the professor, is in the United States. All right. So Mr. Tukba, who's here, he's the one that is they growing up in a village. I heard a parable that, okay, the cap on your head can smell feces when you go in the bush, but the trouser smells it the worst. So the two individuals wrote the book. One is the main author, one is the co-author, but the co-author is the trouser that is directly, on top of the feces. So you know what that means. He's right here in the country, so the fire will burn him directly rather than Mr. Emmanuel Clark. So the information I received, it says Team Ivar received several threats on his life and was tipped off at highest levels that his life was in danger and to leave the country immediately. He proceeded to leave the country tonight, but was arrested by Liberian immigration at the Sierra Leonean border. They all had his photo in their phones and said that he was wanted by the Liberian government, even though he hasn't been charged with any crime and no warrant for his arrest. And no warrant for that information, filtering for his arrest has been issued. Ivar has committed no crime. He was last seen at the Tieni border checkpoint and reportedly taken to Bowatersa border post. Ivar's life is now in the hands of George Weir, and Nathaniel McGill. Please, let's both pray for him, his wife, and kids, as well as elevate this to the international media and Western governments. But on the contrary, the latest update I'm getting is that this one says, please be informed that Police IG Shudu just informed ELBC that Isaac Tuba wasn't arrested, but was stopped last night while attempting to cross the border about 11 p.m. when the facility had closed. Another media practitioner, CEO of Spoon FM and TV, Spoon FM and TV, Stanton Witherspoon posted that he spoke to Mr. Tupa a few minutes ago and said he is safe and stated he was never arrested. So that has been cleared. Talking about arrest, let me go by a little bit to this analysis. Now, the book has been written. The content in it, the description, there are some, inscriptions in the book that are not proper. If they are obscene, as I've described that particular paragraph as erotic, obscene, and pornographic, I think the Weir family has the right to file a lawsuit against the authors. Hmm? The Weir family feels displeased about that. It can file a lawsuit. There's no need for kangaroo form of justice here. There's no need to hunt somebody. There's no need to chase someone. There's no need to tickle Mr. Isaac Vartuba, even the professor in the US. The Weirs can file a lawsuit against the authors if they feel dissatisfied about it. If at all, if it is true that Mr. Weir informed the authors that, well, having received the manuscript, I've read and I do not feel pleased about certain things in the manuscript, please change. And they went ahead to publish, then I think if there's a written document between the two, they can go right ahead and file a lawsuit. Why I'm talking about lawsuit? I know many of you are saying, Matthias, how can somebody write a book and be sued for it? In the 19th century, before the 19th centuries, right, there were many people who were considered as solitary readers or solitary, right? Solitary readers. These are people who read in quiet places. They go quietly, they sit down behind closed doors. They just read any book. Whether the book is toxic or not, they just go ahead and read. And these are things that people were involved with. But it was around the 19th century that obscene literature began to emerge from the secret museums of gentlemen's private collections to the public domain. So talking about gentlemen's private collection, obscene literature started coming out from private museums, from gentlemen's private collection. So people were writing things about themselves. Well, maybe this is a guy who's a womanizer. He goes around, he hangs around a lot. And whatever woman he meets, he writes something about her privately. It was around the 19th century that these articles, these writings started coming out. But not in Africa, though. This is on African. I'm going to bring it back home. This is on African. This is not in Africa. It was in the West. All right. So solitary readers, by the way, they were considered at that time to be vulnerable to physical and moral corruption through their consumption of lascivious texts, because books you read can either impact you positively or negatively. So you should know the kind of book you pick up to read. Some books are very toxic. Now, in the 20th century, there were several court cases. A fellow called Cleland wrote a book, A Woman of Pleasure. And this book was written 1749. And then another writer, Lady Chatterley's Lover, 1928, by Lawrence. Haydee, 1964. And it was written in the context of the 1964 UK Fanny Hill trial. Now, Haydee came in defense of another author who wrote a book and was taken to court. He wrote countering the court's case against this author. So you see, what I'm saying here for short is that these authors can go to court if anyone feels offended by this particular thing. I mean, most especially the Weirs, the Weir family can file a lawsuit against these authors. But I want to ask a few questions to the authors, Mr. Professor Emmanuel Clark and Mr. Isaac Vartuba. These are well-learned individuals. These are educated people, all right? They read a book. Before you write, there must be a reason. Yesterday we were having a conversation, a friend of mine and I were having a conversation, and she said, and I asked her, what exactly is your problem with writing? She said, well, sometimes I just get stuck. I want to write something, I just get stuck. I said, okay, that thing is called writer's block. Every writer experiences that, one way or the other. Sometimes you want to write something, the ideas just fade away. That is writer's block. But block, it means you have a reason to write. So I want to ask few questions to the authors. Why did you people write? Did you write to inform the public? Did you write to entertain the public? Did you write to educate the public? Or did you write to vent anger? The mentioning of anger, question number 4, I want to connect something to it. According to my research, Professor Emmanuel Clark used to be a staunch supporter of the CDC. And the information have it that he invested close to over $100,000 United States dollars in the CDC throughout the struggle. All right. And he wanted to become commerce minister. Immediately the president became president. He reached out many times. Mr. Isaac Vartuba, we all know his history as well. He came from the CDC before joining the ANC. I think he served as founding chairman, something like that, of the CDC. And the information is that also Isaac Vartuba, while being a member of the ANC, this is something that he can clarify later. Right now, he's really hard to reach. that he wanted to also become Minister of State of President Weah. These are things, these are lines that the guys were pushing. But I'm not saying this to say that they wrote out of anger because they did not get what they wanted. What they reported are reasons why, such such pornographic inscriptions were included in their book, then I think the Weas have something, to, maybe a damage, character assassination or so can be, a lawsuit can be filed. Instead of just going after these people reportedly, as I said, going after them, it's not, really good. Let's use the law. History has recorded this, that people have gone to court for writing pornographic text. But in Africa, by the way, it's not recorded that anyone has gone to court for writing something that has to do with pornography in it, and then they went to court. Maybe this country can also set that history. Liberia produced first female president, first war best, first African best, and so on. Let's go on. Let's move on. But who is President Weah, by the way? George Weah. Let me deal with him as George Weah, not president now, because in the context of this book, he was being discussed as George Weah until at the latter part of the book, before he started being addressed as president. Because at the time, he already rose to leadership. Because the book title is George Weah, the Dream, the Legend, the Rise to Power. Mr. George M. Weah, we all know, by the way, but he put on something, but he was, half naked. That in the minds of many Africans and the reactions that he got back here, it was un-African of him. He did not observe his nativity and went ahead to do such, advertisement. Now, I'm connecting this to say that given the fact that, let's also connect something there quickly before I move on to the next point. I'm soon going to close up and take our break, and we come back opening lines. Mr. Weah, the party chairman of the CDC, Mr. Moba Molo, is also on record for saying a lot of things about Weah. You see, it's someone, the Una people, one old lady said to me once that, listen, son, I know you're angry because of the way that lady is treating you. But you see what? I had an issue with a friend, actually. Not my girlfriend, though. The only people that will hurt you or that will say things about you are people that have met you. If they've met you in person, they get to know something about you. That's something they can say. By just listening to Matthias on the radio, you don't actually know him. So don't go out there saying things. If you've met me, we've had some conversation, we've, dealt with each other privately, I'm very sure you know some things about me. So Mr. Moba Molo came to the public and said a lot of things. This man, he sleeps with women before giving them jobs. He does this before this happens. He goes out of the country and he comes back and this happened. He's wasteful. He said a lot of unorthodox things about the president. He was invited at the House of Elders. The elders said that it was liquor talk. Let's leave that. Why is that connected? George Weah, to some extent, he has a history of explaining. He has a history of talking. He may have told these guys about his powers. If he didn't, then these guys too, they must stand strong for a court case. If he did, I'm very sure his wife must be really disappointed in him by now, the kind of man he is. But the question is, did he really or actually discuss his wife in such a manner? Let's leave that. Now, quickly, Honorable Alexander Cummins took a decision. He requested that Mr. Isaac Vatukpa resigns, tendering his resignation, something he did. It's an honorable thing. I want to read, this communication from Mr. All right. I want to read this communication from Mr. Alexander Cummins. Mr. Cummins wrote and he informed the public that my chief of office staff, Mr. Isaac Vatukpa, has tendered his resignation based on my request. And said, this morning, I asked for and received the immediate resignation of my chief of office staff, Mr. Isaac Vatukpa. This is despite the fact that a book which is the object of my concern, was written long before Isaac joined our team. Since joining the team, Mr. Tuba has served with diligence and professionalism, and I've come to respect and admire his work. My decision was not taken lightly because I value Isaac's works and contributions. However, the standards of alternative leadership for our country that we have set for ourselves now in the future are particularly higher than the usual, and we are determined to maintain it. It means we must stand with all those who are right when they are right, even if they are not our friends, and refuse to stand with those who are wrong, even if they are our friends and workmates. Continuing to do so because this is the example of the quality of leadership that our country desperately needs to change course and improve the lives of Liberians. The book, co-authored by Mr. Tuba, reveals an alleged discussion by a husband, Mr. George Weah, of his wife. The revelation of the alleged discussion exposes a deviant behavior in our society in the continuous disrespect and denigration of girls and women. I find the publication of the alleged discussion to be an error of judgment, which in itself has the effect of enabling and fueling such reprehensible behaviors of men disrespecting women. This certainly does not excuse the alleged disrespectful and private invasive discussion by a husband of his wife, which I find to be disgraceful and offensive. In our response to the president's SONA, I spoke about the need to cleanse the soul of our nation as leaders and especially as men on issues of gender and equality of women, which stains the nation's soul. It falls upon all of us, especially men, to be good examples for those younger than us who look up to us. Beginning in our own families, we must always show the highest consideration and respect for women and girls, especially our wives. I can only hope that the alleged discussion by our now president, as revealed in the book about his wife, is not true. If it is unacceptable, distasteful, and a bad example. We should not be tolerated. This is the decision from Mr. Alexander Cummins, political leader of the Alternative National Congress. He dismissed his staff, Mr. Isaac Tuba, who is the co-author of the book. But I want to just get to a point quickly. This is despite the fact that a book which is the object of my concern was written long before Isaac joined our team. Let's pause right there. Now I want to ask a few questions, Mr. Alexander Cummins. The decision you took, was this based on pressure from the public, pressure from women groups, pressure from civil society, or a decision based on this decision is a self-taught decision as a leader? Now you incorporated a man, who had already written a book with pornographic inscription in it. You brought him with you. All right. Maybe at that time, the of the book, had not reached you. It's understandable. How about on December 16, 2021, the Front Page Africa published for the first time, I guess, the first time the Front Page Africa published excerpts of the book online and even in hard copy. Front Page Africa published the excerpts. And I'm very sure in these excerpts, the Front Page Africa did not mention the obscene part that is in chapter 13 of the book. And if for any reason, I'm very sure the political leader of the ANC must have heard Mr. Isaac Tuba talking about this book, or maybe he must have been issued a copy to read. Say, sir, well, I will be glad to write a book and bring to Mountain Brown. Say, Mr. Brown, yes, my book. Yeah, can you please read it? And take a look at it. It's a copy of the book. Timas, please, this book, please read it. Is the political leader of the ANC saying that he did not get to read his book until now, that there's pressure in the public coming from all angles, from every corner of the public, that these two men disrespected the first lady of the Republic of Liberia, that is taking action? Or is this something intended to score a political point that, yes, this man took a decision. He's a leader. He's a true leader. He dismissed his chief of office staff because he did something And this is something that has been out there. Yes, he must have known about it, maybe. But anyway, let's leave that. But talking about pressure, pressure from whom? Civil society? Where is the civil society? Or the media? Pressure from whom? Traditional leaders? Where are they? Where are the traditional leaders? Pressure from whom? Actors? Advocates? Where are they? You know, sometimes when we sit down and talk about these things, Julius, I'm just gonna wrap up quickly and move on and take a pause and we will come back. Right? When we talk these things, today social media is inundated with comments from some individuals, even those who were probably in their quietude doing something, maybe because the name Claudia is mentioned, everyone has now become an advocate overnight. Everyone is now writing something on social media, condemning the authors. But the book, by the way, it should not be entirely condemned, except for the inclusion of such pornographic inscriptions, as I've mentioned. Then the book is at the verge of losing its true essence. If the authors can go right back and edit and render an apology, maybe write another book apologizing for their solecism, grammatical or writing solecisms, I'm very sure the weas will understand and forgive them. But talking about traditional leaders, I followed a press conference yesterday held, I think headed by Ambassador Julie Endy, and several other women. The traditional council, the women, traditional, our mothers gather in their lappers. When I see mothers tie lappers and they sit together, they sit whether on a mat, on a bench, on a chair, using modern equipments to talk to us. I sense the aura you sense in that environment is the aura of blessing, the aura of love, the aura of discipline. Where is the discipline today? Where were these traditional women and civil society organizations when a 7-year-old boy got sodomized in Claratown in 2018? What did they say? Did they say anything? No, because he's poor. From Gibraltar to Claratown is just a stone throw. But they didn't say anything. They didn't call a press conference to condemn the Nigerian fellow who did the act. What did they say? Because his voice will not be heard. His voice will not be amplified because he's come from the slum, from Claratown. He was sodomized. I doubt whether he's still alive today. 7-year-old. Where were the traditional women when the 3-year-old girl got raped by a 15-year-old boy in Bapolo County in 2021? Where were they? Did they take a position? Did they say something? Or because it's Claudia, First Lady of the Republic of Liberia. So now everybody is an advocate in Liberia. Eh? All right, let me go on. So where were these traditional women when the NSA officer, Jake Brown, uploaded a video of a little girl being sexually abused by a man who is old enough to be her grandfather? That pedophile of a fellow is currently sitting somewhere, maybe smoking a cigar, drinking his gin, and at the verge of abusing another child somewhere. The women of this country did not take a position. I didn't see none. Where were these women when a 13-year-old recently got raped, sodomized, and killed? Oh, it was not necessary for them to call a press conference. So where were these women when a child got raped at the Liberian embassy in Nigeria, Abuja? The brother is still crying loud for justice. They couldn't take a position. The very traditional women, when Yuna Kumba Thompson had a group of women and they went to the Capitol building, calling on the lawmakers to halt the confirmation of the current foreign minister that this man has sex allegation hovering over him by a lady who worked in the Liberian embassy in America. The lady is saying this man sexually abused me, sexually molested me. Please, I'm crying out here. Can you please pause his confirmation? Let him come and clear his name. The senators, they heard this woman cry. They listened to her cry. They listened to her. She wrote communications repeatedly. We followed that story up. They went ahead and confirmed Mr. Kemayan in the presence of everybody, the media. Where were they? Where were these people? Where were these traditional women? Where were these advocates? Anyway, modern day advocates, they are mostly carried away by managing comments on their social media pages than actually following the real stories. They're actually feeding the pings of the people they should be advocating for. Oh, today is Claudia. Everybody is now an advocate in the country. The little girl is dead. That mother is somewhere sitting now. She's grieving. She has lost her daughter. The mothers of this country cannot call a press conference. But it's Claudia, they're calling a press conference condemning Emmanuel Clark, and Aze Vatupa. I'm a father. Regardless of your height, regardless of where you're from, all right? Regardless of your status in society, I think every child deserves respect. Every child deserves love. Every child deserves to be taken care of. Every woman, every human being created by God has some innate abilities, regardless of your class. So we should stop doing this class thing. We are poor, we are down here, we are ordinary people, but we are the ones that even elevate the class people. We are ordinary. We don't feel for each other. We don't feel our pings. But what happens is that we feel the pings of the people that are up there than the pings of those that are with us that we feel directly. Just to close, I can continue to go on and on and on, and the list go on. Sorry, folks, if you feel disappointed some way along the analysis. I am not trying to dismiss the fact that the first leader of our country is humiliated by men who should have known better in their writings. What I am simply trying to say, as many of you modern day advocates crave to bask in the words of the established few, do not lose the common touch from the masses, because you are one of them. You're part of us. You're part of them. There is a mother in Joe community. She just lost her 6-bedroom house to fire. Her 6 children, she along her 6 children are now managing in someone's bedroom. She survives through handouts. Her story doesn't matter to you. Lastly, advocacy should not be selective, but holistic, because as the man with money weeps over the things that hurt him emotionally, the poor does too. When you are walking, you get money, you get out for your slippers, you stomp your toes, the same way blood will come from there. The poor man down the community too will stomp his toes, blood will come from there too. The ping will be the same. The difference there is that the rich man will get by in a car and run straight to the hospital and get treated. But you, the poor man, you will not get treated. Maybe you have to go pour salt to your wound. Sadly, the voices of the very poor people, the ordinary people, are not amplified because some modern day advocates are carried away by the very things that they are speaking against. I listen to my brothers from the CDC Council of Patriots. Guys, I want to recommend, how about you people changing the name CDC Council of Patriots to CDC Council of Loyalists, to CDC Council of Apologists? Because all these things I've outlined, you people did not take a position on any of this. Now you are writing the Liberal National Police to investigate the 2 authors because the first lady's name is involved. And you people predominantly in that organization are young people. The CDC Council of Patriots, you guys are young people. Yes, simply because she's a first lady. I respect the fact that there's this solidarity building around her. She must be, there's some other people must rise up to the occasion. But it should not be selective. It should not be because I'm Collins, because I'm Larbeindee. So Larbeindee, yeah, I'm from the village. So what? Don't I have blood? Can I read and reason? We'll take a pause when we come back. Please, bring it on.
After being in the business for more than 20 years, Uptown Garage has all it takes to make your car work best for you. Uptown Garage has brought in all sizes of new quality tires. We also have the efficient and long-lasting Uptown batteries. Uptown Garage has also brought in a state-of-the-art 2022 upgraded diagnostic machine that can easily detect any problem with your car. Don't worry, we can fix it for you. Is your car having any electrical problem? Well, Uptown Garage has a professional electrician from Ghana who is up to the task of programming and solving all of your car electrical problems. Uptown Garage is at the intersection of Broad and Nelson Streets with the Uptown Spare Parts Store on Broad Street side. We have our garage and new showroom at Rehab at the junction of President Weah's residence. For original spark plugs from Japan, oil filters, engine oil, and everything you need to get your car working perfectly, come to Uptown Garage. We give 1-month warranty. We also provide a tow truck free of charge if we are the ones to work on your car. But we also tow your car anywhere for a fee. Contact Uptown Garage Head Office on 0777 553317 or 0886 553317 or our rehab branch on 0770-902865. Uptown Garage, your 100% Liberian owned, is here to put a smile on your face.
Hey y'all, what's up back homie LIB man?
T-Brash, that you? Hey, good to hear from you, man. I'm surprised because most of you keep quiet when you go to America.
Come on man, I told you I'll make the difference girl. By the way, I need to send you some cash but heard that the banks are closed today in LIB.
You sleepy? That bro come to another level. You can see the script on my phone.
Receive money from your family and friends in the US directly into your Orange Money wallet. Yes, you heard me right. Tell your loved ones to download the BNB or Small World money transfer apps or visit their websites to begin transferring. Visit www.orange.com.lr for more information. Free for sender until 30th November.
Brings you closer to what matters. Orange.
Me. Bobo, you take her money to pay for the things I got for my honey. She over there. Amos, get money to my phone fast. Take correct about you.
Great news for all football lovers. Use Orange Money to cash in or cash out and stand a chance to win cash, devices, or a ticket to the AFCON final. Yes, you heard me right. All this plus many other prizes. Dial *154# to begin transacting. First prize, all expense paid trip to watch the AFCON finals, plus promotional materials. Second prize, luxury 4G smartphone, plus promotional materials. Third prize, $100 cash, plus promotional materials.
Brings you closer to what matters. Orange.
Welcome back to 50/50 on Sky 107.1. I don't know whether we're having issues with the online. Is it on there? I'm getting messages that some folks are maybe it's a usual interruption. So yeah, let's have a conversation now. You're listening to 50/50 on Sky 107.1. I would like to take two calls from here first. Mr. Ambassador Arvin Ross should have been my guest this morning to discuss this topic. He's a university lecturer, but unfortunately he couldn't make it here. Let me just squeeze in for 2 minutes. Mr. Ross, please go right ahead, sir.
Good morning, Matthias.
Good morning. You speaking from the classroom?
I'm speaking from somewhere in Monrovia.
All right, please go ahead, sir.
I'm going to be arrested at least.
Go ahead, sir.
Thank you for the show. So yeah, I want to give my thought on this whole red team style of red team and what we should portray for our children. First, everyone has condemned the work of Mr. Toba. He called his resignation, which some of them was delayed because of some popular crime. But we should also know that authors are held to the highest standards of our ethics, of our moral life, of our culture, of our traditional life, where we came from, our social environment, and our value system. Because what we read, it carries a whole lot of values in us. People see us for who we are. So if I must project myself as a writer, that a generation that is reading the whole narrative, a generation is reading history that they have not seen. So that value should be written on a piece of paper or in a book.
Yeah.
Another thing is that we all want to hold Mr. Toba liable for what he wrote, because you will not just read anything in your heart, you will take it first. When you read the paragraph the first time, you will proofread it, maybe the second time, maybe the third time.
Right.
Mr. Toba might have written that book somewhere around 2016. The first draft, my honest thing was that the first draft came out around 2018. So he did a whole reading of that book. The second group of people that I also want to blame for the interpretation of this book, those who you brought in to edit your book. The editor got a key. That's why when you read your book, you send it to people to edit it. Maybe the editor selected it all and you just rather it. Who knows? Maybe everyone saw it at something fun and they let it go. But those are things that we must be key of.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Ross. Ambassador Ross is a okay. Thank you so much, Ambassador Ross. Ambassador Ross he's by the way a lecturer at the African Methodist Episcopal University. He's a social worker, and that's his position. Call us on the numbers now: 0777. Good morning, sir. Good morning.
Matter I will not Nikki. And I called it from town this morning.
Go ahead.
You know, Matter you selling all for so long.
What's your name? What's your name, sir?
I'm Wilmot.
Wilmot Mickey. Wilmot Mickey. Please go ahead, sir.
Yes, Matter. Thank you so much.
Good.
You see, Matter, you put it quite fairly and for so long in this country, Matter, you have been selective in some fight that's supposed to be the holistic fight and the fight that be the involvement of everybody that affecting the citizens of this country. But we have been selective because sometimes it's on the basic leg, somebody from the slum and somebody from the upper class. So we place more leverage on the people of that upper level. See, Matter, the condemnation who have from the women rights group, the other civil actors that for the of almost excellent in this matter. You know, Matter is something that is welcoming. We appreciate the fact that people are coming up to express that view. For such a kind of manner for he made to be made the publication of book that is a good thing. But Matter, on the other hand, the feeling and the energy associated with this, we have never seen it apply with all of the rape cases, with all of the rape victims across the country. And every other thing that's been imagine the 3 million children in this country. To personally scale.
Oh man. Very, thank you so much. Thank you.
Hello.
Thank you so much, brother. Let me just squeeze in Mr. Gears is on the line. Mr.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, sir. Let me hear you, please.
Yes, I'm Lawrence. Can I ask? From Ben Street, Snapper Hill.
Go ahead.
For an on-prime event this morning, talking critical things about the writers. I think these writers here, they must have edited their book. Are they rushing to have the book public? But then what is ridiculing the first lady and a woman fatherhood and women fatherhood is not good. I read a book, 10 Days to a More Powerful Vocabulary. That book tells you that the wrong words used by a sales clerk of a department store damage the whole sales. And it is good that this book is on a good side, President. We are coming up from other life circle to where he is now. I think that side is the meaning. Then that side is has a flaw on their writing. If they have a critical writing, they should send the writing to others who will criticize or critique their book before having it to public. I think they must come to the first family and have a conclusion before becoming a legal issue or before becoming an apologetic issue on their part.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they are right there. Thank you.
Thanks for your contribution, sir, on the program this morning. Let's hear from another person. Good morning. Call us in the number.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Larbeindee.
Yeah, that's Gaius Basigia. Yeah, these are the 2 young guys that should have had this morning. Yeah, please go ahead, Gaius. Make your point.
Thank you. My name is Basigia Gaius F.
Go ahead.
And firstly, I heard you saying the Weird family can sue. The woman could sue, but the president cannot sue because the president cannot be sued as in office as the president. He could pursue the case provided that he is heard from the writing. But let's go back to the writing. Is the book entirely, is it bad? No, it was about him. In fact, it's autobiography. Right. Ellen Johnson's silly book, This Child Must Be Great, was written by someone. Ellen had to proofread it. There were editor's notes. Because when the editor read a book, you see the editor's note that would attach and send a book back to you based on what is in it. The first question we should also be asking: did the president read his book before it came up, or the book had not been published yet, and someone got a copy and brought it out to the public? We should also compare these things before we jump on the write-up.
But Gaius, let me hold you a little bit. The writers, according to the information, did a lot of research last night, made some phone calls, and so the information is that the writers submitted a manuscript to the president, and he read. Having read the manuscript, portions in it, he said he was not pleased with. But how it happened that this was published on Amazon, the book is currently on Amazon. It's not in hard copy yet.
So if the book is not in hard copy yet, then it is not in print.
So, but it's published. There are over 20,000 people have bought the book on Amazon. Do you know what we're talking about?
But then the president himself, the auditors, all should be involved with this. Because when the book is audited and the auditor knows have been verified, comments have been made, and the person for whom you are doing the writing, and like I got my thesis, and I asked somebody to do the writing for me. If the person wrote, I have to read my thesis and tell you, look, on this topic, remove this. I said this, I want you to frame it this way. That is how the authors will go back, and after everything is verified, then books are published. But if the president did not read a book and it came up, it is the president, is also the president's fault. Don't get me wrong. I am not in support of that content of the book.
Right.
Because it is demeaning, it is wrong. Our society got tradition, it got values, and we should instill it in ourselves as we grow. When our parents place it in us, it should be the catalyst that should make us, when we get to the bigger society, and we should always say, I should be mindful, because the Bible says, train up a child in a way that they will grow. When they old, they will not depart from it. That value system should always remain with us. So that content in that identical text in chapter 13 is something I am against. But the entire book is not bad. It was written for the president. And I think the president himself should have read this book, giving his comments, and the author note should have been there like Ellen did for This Child Must Be Great.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Basigia Gayas. Let's hear from another person. Good morning. Good morning, sir. Let's hear you. Were you commenting very faint? Yeah, go ahead now.
Yeah, good morning, Larbeindee.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I'm Michael E. Flombo Sr., a member of the Intellectual Alliance of Liberia, and I'm phoning from Watertown.
Michael, go ahead.
And let me say good morning to him wherever he is. Yeah, you see, the thing about our battle and colleague, publishing a book on Amazon. I think, like what your brother said, that content of the book, my brother, it is condescending, it is demeaning the women. All women in Liberia, including men, children, whosoever should condemn them for such writing. We should not, disgrace women in a kind of form and manner. We have sisters, we have nieces. I mean, we have wives, we have mothers. To see that, yesterday when I read that thing on the internet, my brother was broken, to be frank with you. And you see, when you hear people try to comment this thing, I want people to look in the face of those people and say, no, Kumi is not part of this. Yeah, it is like, to me, 50-50, because why am I saying this? Kumi, as a leader in this country, right? Kumi should have taken a say by sacking that brother, not by calling him to say, can't resign. You call him can't resign, they may resign. You check your few statements. I expected Kumi to have, dismissed that man with strong wording in the dismissal letter. Condemning into the letter. But he called him and said, I can't resign. We didn't resign, my brother will go to Sierra Leone. We go to Sierra Leone, go to America. The brother was called to go with us last night. He's on the way back to Morocco. Spoon TV and Square, bringing it back to town. And let's go, on farm.
Okay.
We should not be,
Thank you so much. For those of you who are requesting that Amazon should be sued, just like the authors. Like when I take a byproduct to sell in red light market, you cannot sue the Painesville Marketing Association for allowing me to sell the product in red light market. It's a bucket hop. All right. And I just got another information that the book is in hard copy. Let's get to another person. Go ahead. Good morning.
Morning, Matthias Larbeindee.
Good morning, sir. Let's hear you.
Although you finished all my morning, the name Mohammed passed away.
It's a pass away. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I join you from Moldova.
Go ahead, sir.
Larbeindee, I want to join the rest of Liberians condemning that portion of the book. I think it's the meaning. Not only to the family, but to the entire Liberian women. You know, we are from a traditional background. Whenever you describe a woman in a form and manner, Larbeindee, you know, it began somehow questionable as to whether your own upbringing. But at least the men of color, they have been, Mr. Zahn Benendo Kumi, that why you shouldn't tell the guy, you shouldn't dismiss the guy, you ask the guy to resign. That is professional. That's what we call professionalism.
Mm.
If somebody is working with you and you find out the person is not doing well, and you want to dismiss the person, first of all, ask them to resign. So if the person resign and then you get to go ahead and to dismiss the person. I think that's what exactly happened. Mr. Tuba to resign, and he didn't resign, but you're going to be dismissed.
All right.
So it's the meaning. What of condemn and the single thing. But people are looking at after all this thing. Now, Mr. is incoherent. People are being embarrassed about international society from pressure group for political grouping. That is not so. Mr. Is from a traditional background. He's a Liberian. You're born by a woman. So a new guy is the meaning for somebody to describe one in that kind of form and manner. So I want to appreciate him for his steps taking. I think every leader must follow a full step. That's the best thing every leader can do.
Thank you, Mr. Passaway. Thanks for your contribution on the program this morning. Let's move on to another person. The numbers are 077777107. Good morning. Good morning, sir.
My name is Mr. Gongano.
Mr. Gongano, go ahead.
Thank you. I think one of your previous caller just said it right. I think leaders who come to prominence to set such an example that is set against as a Tupac. What do I mean by this? I think our president has made several mistakes. And it's coming down to his speech. These are things that we expected President George Weah was taking into his mantle of authority in this. We can, draw a line between wrong and good. There are big series of things. This call by Alexander Kumi for his senior officers to resign. I think it shall be applied in the president's office because you can recall a lot of wrongdoing have been going on surrounding the president. Let me just give you a scenario. Look what happens when the tape came up regarding Money making serious allegations against Liberia women. These barrage of attacks and comments that come against Africa were never displayed. They were never present. There was no attempt by the president to say this chairman should resign. Even for a national occasion where civil chair someone say, you chairman, you need to resign for making such a statement against our president, against the office of the country. This is what we expected of President George Weah.
Okay.
Tupac has come out publicly and apologized to the public. I think the president, that statement that he made to the police in that book, we need to come out and dial down the cover of Liberia, but then he go to our office in that form and manner, and then apologize to his wife for bringing her into the public.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thanks for your contribution. It's not clear yet whether the authors actually had a conversation with President Weah. They could write it in their books, but if strings are pulled right now, maybe the real facts will come out. You're listening to 5050 on Sky 107.1. We're taking a break. When we come back, we read you some comments from our social media users.
Hey, y'all. What's up back home in LIB, man?
T-Brush, that you? Hey, good to hear from you, man. I'm surprised because most of you keep quiet when you go to America.
Come on, man. I told you I'll make the difference, girl. By the way, I need to send you some cash, but heard that the banks are closed today in LIB.
You sleeping? That brought home to another level. You can see the script on my phone.
Receive money from your family and friends in the U.S. directly into your Orange Money wallet. Yes, you heard me right. Tell your loved ones to download the BNB or Small World money transfer apps or visit their websites to begin transferring. Visit www.orange.com.lr for more information. Free for sender until 30th November.
Brings you closer to what matters.
Orange.
Hey guys, I got good news for y'all. Who wants y'all to watch everything combination?
Me.
Okay. Robo, you take her money to pay for the things I got for my Annie. She over there. Amos, get money to my phone fast. Send correct about you.
Great news for all football lovers. Use Orange Money to cash in or cash out and stand a chance to win cash, devices, or a ticket to the AFCON final. Yes, you heard me right. All this plus many other prizes. Dial *154# to begin transacting. First prize, all expense paid trip to watch the AFCON finals, plus promotional materials. Second prize, luxury 4G smartphone, plus promotional materials. Third prize, $100 cash, plus promotional materials.
Nipa, I'm gonna interested in the device so I can share that win, yeah.
Brings you closer to what matters.
Orange.
After being in the business for more than 20 years, Uptown Garage has all it takes to make your car work best for you. Uptown Garage has brought in all sizes of new quality tires. We also have the efficient and long-lasting Uptown batteries. Uptown Garage has also brought in a state-of-the-art 2022 upgraded diagnostic machine that can easily detect any problem with your car. Don't worry, we can fix it for you. Is your car having any electrical problem? Well, Uptown Garage has a professional electrician from Ghana who is up to the task of programming and solving all of your car electrical problems. Uptown Garage is at the intersection of Broad and Nelson Streets with the Uptown Spare Parts Store on Broad Street side. We have our garage and new showroom at Rehab at the junction of President Weah's residence. For original spark plugs from Japan, oil filters, engine oil, and everything you need to get your car working perfectly, come to Uptown Garage. We give 1 month warranty. We also provide a tow truck free of charge if we are the ones to work on your car. But we can also tow your car anywhere for a fee. Contact Uptown Garage Head Office on 077-553317 or 0886-553317 or our rehab branch on 0770-902865. Uptown Garage, your 100% Liberian owned, is here to put a smile on your face.
Welcome back to 50/50 on Sky 107.1. We're here again this morning. Today is Wednesday, and it's the second day of February 2022. Yes, Larbeindee, you follow the conversation. Let's now join Studio 2 to hear from Princess, comments from our social media users.
All right, so let me take Hilton Wulajeto, who writes, "Good morning, my able presenter of the famous show 50/50. I write from my purple corner in Lookington as a purple defender. It's quite unfortunate for Mr. Tupa to write a book which denigrates womanhood. Common head of politics shouldn't make Liberians to attack personality. Kudos to Mr. Alexander Cummings for calling for his resignation. I only disagree with him when he said to believe that President Weah had said it. He and his top author should be interrogated." Emmett A.S. Tapper writes, "Those guys who wrote that book about the president and his wife were in the wrong. But our president himself never did well for his wife. The president himself, with no shame, needs to apologize to his wife and women." Gasibali Patakoli writes, "Let Eva go." Eugene Harry writes, "You are right, my dear brother. Thank you." Emmett A. Tapper, "Why wouldn't Isaac Va be arrested when he brought the president's wife to public disrepute? He needs to be arrested for questioning. But if national government will not take actions, let women of Liberia take serious action against these guys. This is not politics, it's about our wives and mothers. The dynamic of our politics must change positively. Batam Kula writes, Asik Isava Asik Tupa was arrested extrajudicially last night. You all need to call for his unconditional release. Black Dama Dama writes, very good analysis, brother. Your analysis is very balanced this morning. Matthias, keep it up. Maripata writes, they're killing their children right before them. They're opening their mouths. Vasco Hayes writes, those are regrets in our society, my brother. Thanks for your analogy today. Eugene Harrow writes, group of shameless women. And Maripata writes, how many children have been killed in the hands of men in that country? They're sitting there, so they're sitting down there. Batankula well stated Matthias Larbeindee. Morris S. Gable writes, good morning, T Max, and good morning to your listening audience following the broadcast. Well, T Max, I write from my comfort zone in Zoo community along the Honorable Abraham Vamuya Kone Avenue. 50-50, let me, in this public manner, appreciate Mr. Alexander Cummins, Chief of Staff, Mr. Asik Vatupa, for coming publicly and apologizing for his wrongdoing. But with growing waves of concern being raised by many Liberians reading this issue, I would like to also call on our president, George Weah, to do same by apologizing to his wife for bringing her to this public disgrace that he has calls for. Keep up the good work. Edward, you are right, my brother. Liberia only few for people in authority, not the common people. And this final one, Bill Carson, George Weah doesn't respect his wife and family. And that's all. Matthias.
Thank you, Princess. And the comments you heard are comments from our social media users, Night of Sky. We thank all of you for joining the conversation this morning. Those of you who participated, well, we want to appreciate you. Those of you who try to get through but could not, we also want to say try next time, try tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, we're going to be having a conversation with a father, a mother, and a mother, of a minor, a little boy who went through surgical work. The doctor did some surgical work on him, and he was partially blind, but now his blindness is getting terrible. I think the doctor did a bad job. So the family is now doing an SOS to see how they can get some assistance from many people so that he can get some treatment out there. The conversation I'll keep with any man within my family is very limited. What I tell you what you need to know. I tell you what you need to know. I tell you what I think is safe for me to say. If you even ask me some questions that I just shut you up. Last time I checked, somebody met me somewhere and asked me, my man, in Liberian way, my man, yeah, guess they to get up. And I asked him, what were you expecting? That we will break up? That for me, that was provoking. The point I'm making is that family values are very important. Let's respect our families. Let's respect our sisters. Let's respect our mothers. Let's respect our female friends. Whether we have something to do with them, let's respect them. Sometimes you get irritated if some things want to happen. But one thing quickly, I just want to say, man must be disciplined, for he is by nature raw and wild. And this is from a philosopher called Immanuel Kant. Every man must be disciplined because every man, one way or the other, he's raw and he's wild. My name is Matthias Larbeindee.